How to attract your first 100 leads without any marketing experience.
Welcome to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast.
We're your hosts, David and Elle Denning.
What happens when a millennial couple dives headfirst into the insurance world, scales $1 million remote business, and decides to share the journey with the world?
You get the Modern Insurance Agent.
Here, we reveal the messy, magical, and sometimes hilarious realities of building a business and a life you love.
From traveling the globe to building remote teams. Yes, even working remotely on top of a mountain in the Philippines. We're sharing insights, strategies, and plenty of laughs to help agents and entrepreneurs succeed.
Because, let's face it, success isn't just about hitting numbers.
It's about designing a life that works for you.
So let's dive in and build something extraordinary together.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast. If you're a brand new agent, or even if you've been around a while, but still feel like you don't have a real lead flow, this episode's for you. Today, we're breaking down exactly how to get to your first 100 leads without ads, without complicated funnels, and without needing any marketing experience.
And before we dive in, if you want the worksheets, marketing goodies, and guides that go along with this episode, as well as the show notes, you can go download them all for free at jumpstartgonow.com/podcast.
We put all the marketing goodies there for you, so you make sure to grab them. Now, here's the truth most agents don't hear. You don't need branding, funnels, or marketing chops to get your first 100 leads. I'll say it again for those that weren't listening. You don't need branding, funnels, or marketing chops to get your first 100 leads. If you can have a normal conversation with normal humans, most of you can, right? There's a couple there, but most of you guys can. You can build a lead flow.
And I want to start off with a quick story because it proves everything we're about to talk about today. One of our clients, Dylan Baker, really didn't have any marketing experience at all.
But he picked one audience. How many? One audience, single income families, and partnered with real estate agents who loved that he made their clients' lives easier.
And one of the biggest things was he stayed consistent. He kept his world small. And because of that focus,
he generated 544 referrals in 30 days. 544 referrals in 30 days. That's more than 10 years for a lot of agents. Organically, no ads, no fancy content, no spend, just clarity, conversations, and consistency.
And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. So to kick it off, we're going to talk about the first 100 leads flywheel. And this flywheel is really the foundation. When you understand this, you're going to stop using tactics where you're chasing people, and instead you're going to build momentum where people reach out to you. Now, you may have guessed it, but number one is to choose one simple audience. And this doesn't have to be forever. I know this can be very, very scary, but as you're getting started, especially with organic marketing, it's really important to focus on one target market. And you want to think about this as like picking your route on a map. You know, if you have a destination that you're trying to get to, there's probably multiple ways that you're going to get there. But having that one route is really going to help you have clarity on where you're going with your marketing. That doesn't mean that you can't help other people that are outside of your target market, but your content and conversations are going to be directed instead of scattered.
Harvard research. They know a couple things.
Harvard does?
Yeah, Harvard. You may have heard of it. If anybody's been there, they'll let you know they went there, right? Harvard research shows specialists are trusted 2 to 3 times more, even when the generalist has more experience. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So by simply naming your audience, you automatically become more credible.
Yep, absolutely. And then number 2 with your 100 leads flywheel, So if you're taking notes, I hope you wrote down number 1. But number 2 is to show up and go where your audience already is. This might sound a little bit basic, but I guarantee some of you are not doing this. This also really helps you when you know who your target audience is. It's going to give you clues on where they're spending time. You do not need to be everywhere. You do not, like David mentioned, you don't need a fancy website or even a logo. You don't need a brand aesthetic. We see agents spending so much time on these things. You just literally need to go where people are already spending time, either online or offline or both.
I mean, if you go into a nursery full of toddlers and try to convince them to buy some life insurance, you're not going to get very far, unless some really smart toddlers. But even then, they're not 18, right? And so it doesn't do you any good to be in the wrong places, even if you have valuable and helpful information, which you do. You need to be in front of the right audience and where they're at. And this is especially important when we're not our own target audience. The places that you're hanging out, if your target audience isn't you, then that's not necessarily where your target audience is hanging out. And so this is where people post it on social like, oh, I'm trying to get this in front of my target audience. But if you're not in the right places, talking about the right things or have the right audience, then you're not going to get in front of them, right? And that's really, really important. And when people see your name repeatedly, because you're in front of them and you're where they're at, you become familiar. And familiarity is the first step to build trust.
Absolutely. And the next step is to start with simple daily conversations. Okay, step 3. If you take nothing else from this episode, take this. Your early leads are coming from conversations, not content. I'm going to repeat that again. Your leads are going to come from conversations, not content.
A quick, how's your week going? A voice note, a comment on someone's post, a DM answering a question. These small daily touches turn into curiosity, and curiosity turns into leads. I just actually had this discussion a few times today. One with clients talking about content's great, but I really want to move it into the conversations, which is where all the magic happens. It doesn't happen from the content. People aren't just like, oh, what an amazing post. Let me get a policy right now. Here's my credit card. Here's my bank account info. It's not necessarily how it happens. It comes from conversations, which comes to, yes, I would love to discuss this more. Yes, I know someone who would be a great fit. Was just asking me about that yesterday. Yes, I work with a ton of those people for my business. Would love to send them over to you. All this comes from conversations. And we also talk about curiosity. This is where people, I need to know more. What are you guys talking about? How do you guys help? You know, what can you do for my family, right? And this is where now people are paying attention and you can provide that value.
Love it. All right. Step number 4 is going to be document your journey. Don't create content. Okay. Your audience doesn't need you to be polished. This is a massive sticking point that I see for so many people. They're focusing more on really creating something that they feel is highly produced or highly polished. Your audience actually cares more about you being relatable, a real human. And again, this is why target market is so important, because you're going to make your content relatable to that specific market. So you can share things like grabbing a coffee or what your morning routine looks like. If I'm looking at really tailoring my content more to busy families or parents, and I also have kids, I'm probably going to be sharing what my routine looks like being also a busy parent with kids. You could share things like a thought that hit you, something that you recently learned, or a behind the scenes of your day. This is the type of consistency that builds trust way, way faster than overproduced content. Sprout Social actually did a study on this and found that authentic, low production content is actually 2.5 times more engaging than polished content.
What'd you say? That it's 2.5 times more engaging than if you're doing highly produced content. If you're like, man, I got to do all this editing. I got to shoot with a nice camera. I got to have the perfect lighting. I got to have that one special little curl lock, which I don't have right now. Before I do my post, realize it's going to actually perform better if you don't do all that production and just keep it unpolished, just filmed it on my phone, right? So step 5, hopefully you got the first 4 there, but step 5, I want to build one referral engine. One strong partner can change your entire business. And we've seen this time and time again with one quality strategic referral partner absolutely doubling, tripling, or even more people's businesses over time. It doesn't have to be fancy. It's usually someone who's already serving the same audience, right? So think realtors, loan officers, car dealers, local business owners, school staff, parent group leaders. All of these are amazing, amazing potential referral partners. And you probably already know a few.
Yeah, and most agents really underestimate how much business can come from one aligned partner. You really don't need even 10 referral partners. You really just need one good one as you're getting started. Keep in mind that referral-based leads are going to convert 5 times higher than outbound leads.
That's incredible.
Yes, it is. All right. So now that we've introduced this flywheel, let's break down how to actually do it. And we're going to walk through each and every part of this together. So first, that audience. Okay. So again, keep it simple. And remember that specific categories are 80% more likely to be remembered or retained versus a general label. So if you're really specializing in retirement strategies, label yourself as that. That you're helping people, retire with peace of mind. That's going to be more memorable than insurance agent. I guarantee it. And then choose one niche, really important, one niche that helps you stand out. And again, the brain is wired to store those specifics. So, David, you want to give them some examples of what some specific niches might look like?
All right, let's break down a couple examples. Once again, these are not all encompassing, and you can go even more specific than just this. But start with someone you naturally understand. Single income families, like we mentioned with Dylan, new homeowners, retiring veterans, active seniors, or small business owners. All very simple, but still specific niches. Right? If your life experience gives you insight into their world, then that's the right niche. And even better if if I'm a veteran myself, well, then I can relate to a lot and understand a lot there. If I'm a single income family, can also relate to a lot around that. You don't have to be your own audience, but it can be easier if I already understand it and aligned with it, know people around it or people that deal with it. So you don't need to be an expert. You just need to understand their rhythm.
Absolutely. All right. So once we know our niche, let's think about where they're going to be hanging out. And remember that visibility creates familiarity, and familiarity creates trust. This is actually a psychological effect that starts to happen. When people see you more, they trust you more, even if it's without a deep interaction.
So join the groups they're already in. People already hang out in groups, communities, both in real life and digitally, right? So we want to join those groups where they're already at, participating and have connections. And I want to participate in those spaces with them, right? And so that could be Facebook groups, absolutely amazing. Some of our favorites and can be super leveraged. Local pages, parent and school groups, PTAs, school board meetings, anything like that, churches and hobby groups, fitness groups, seal or sneakers, pickleball, all these things I can go to where those groups gather, right? Remember, visibility isn't content. Visibility is presence.
Absolutely. And then building on that, we want to now think about conversations. Okay. So 65% of all new business is coming from conversations and referrals, not from content that you're posting. People are 4 times more likely to respond to a message that you send them, like a direct message, than just a public post. So one of the big things that we teach our clients is that you have control of your outcomes on social media, and you don't have to be amazing at posting content. What you do need to do is be consistent with having conversations. And you want to focus on not being salesy. Instead, keep it human.
And don't overthink this, right? Like we see this time and time again. People want to over and over overthink. Keep it simple. You can say things like, "Hey friend, thought of you today. How's your week going? Loved your post. How's everything going?" Simple, open-ended. Asking them questions, not weird, not awkward, relating it to something recently that they posted or just checking in on them. Those are the types of messages people, yeah, absolutely love to respond and reply back to these. And yes, these conversations 100% count as marketing. A lot of people think marketing's got to be pitching a product or a service, but in reality, it's connecting with people and then finding what kind of needs they have and having solutions for those needs.
And again, this all goes back to your target market. So like David's preschooler example, we don't want to be the equivalent of having conversations or direct messages with people that are outside of the US, under 18, couldn't buy a policy from us anyway. Be clear on who it is that you want to have those conversations. Make them intentional conversations. All right, so now let's get to the content part, because you do need a content strategy in order to make social media successful for you. But you really want to think in terms of open loop. So think about things that give people a peek to the inside of your day. These are things that make you relatable, therefore trustworthy. So you can think about sharing something funny, something honest, something helpful, something encouraging. Another really big key to having success with content is to show your face. So if you're not already taking photos, I really encourage you to take at least one photo a day, like put a reminder on your calendar, put it on a task list. If you like checking things off a list, make that one of your tasks. And it could just be like, you having your coffee, at the carpool kid drop off or pickup, just make sure that you're parked and safe. Just anything throughout your day, sitting at your computer, just, turning around. If you're doing a Zoom meeting with, like David's doing one right now, it's so easy to document your day, but make sure that you are in these photos. Make sure that you have that smiling face.
This builds the know, like, trust factor quickly, and you want to max that thing out because it's real. Remember, authentic content builds trust faster than highly produced content, so stay authentic.
Absolutely. All right. And then number 5 is going to build your one referral engine. Okay. So once you know your target market, you really want to think about who else serves that target market. And there's 2 things that I think about here. One is traffic. Do they have, audience? Do they have eyeballs? Do they have people that they're already talking to? And the second is trust. So traffic and trust. We really need those 2 components to have a really great referral partner. And a lot of times people do think about, like the real estate agents, the loan officers, but there's a lot of really great outside the box potential referral partners. Like I love, family photographers or places that do kids' birthday parties. There's a lot of people that work with your target market that see your audience regularly, way more than real estate agents. Because let's be honest, people on average are only buying a house once in every 7 years, but they need to go to the salon every 6 to 8 weeks. So when you're thinking about people that have traffic and trust, think outside of the box, get a little bit creative. And then once you've identified them, you want to think about how you can add value to their business, or you can make their lives easier or provide value to their clients. And that's really how trust is built. It's not going to be by, just asking for the referral or exchanging business cards and being like, yeah, if you think of anybody that needs mortgage protection or needs home insurance, keep me in mind. Like that's not a referral relationship. You really want to think about how you can collaborate together, really add value together. And that's actually something that I love about Dylan's story here that I know that we're going to dive into next. So Let's break down how Dylan actually did this, because he followed this flywheel that we've talked about and implemented it. And what it did is it created a snowball effect of all of these referrals that came in. So first off, he did really great at choosing that one audience, single income families. And what also helped Dylan so much about this is that he really understood this dynamic because he's a single dad. He understood the stress of, making sure that his kids are financially taken care of, having that fear of what happens to me as the main breadwinner, the only provider for his kids. And so he didn't have to guess at those pain points. He lived them. David, do you also want to talk about how Dylan showed up and where his target audience already was?
Absolutely. So he showed up where they were already at, like we just talked about. The parent groups, local community pages, is involved in school events, the neighborhood chats, and his own Facebook network of single income families there. And it was already where they were gathered, having discussions, talking about their kids, futures, and all these conversations that are natural lead-ins to what he helps with as well. And so he wasn't posting content. He was simply showing up where these families already talked, asked questions, and supported each other. So he went directly to where they were at.
And then he also was very intentional about starting conversations. So, and especially with his referral partners. So voice notes, check-ins, just, hey, how are things going? Responding to people's posts, being human before being an agent.
And those tiny touch points build massive trust, especially with real estate pros, where being consistent, reliable is key factor. And then he built referral partners. So he connected with realtors, mortgage pros, mortgage loan officers, and local business owners. These relationships created an avalanche. Dozens of referrals turned into hundreds, which turned into 544 referrals in just 30 days and over 35,000 in life insurance production.
And it didn't require marketing experience, but it did require consistency, clarity, and community. So one of the things that Dylan did very successfully here is that he really understood specifically mortgage protection, because that was the product that he was focused on, and why mortgage protection was not only valuable, of course, to the clients of real estate agents that he was developing the relationships with, but when he was talking to the real estate agents, how it's valuable for them as well, for their clients to be able to stay in their homes, and then for there to be less turnover of homes in the area, which helps the area and market value of the houses. So when he led with that approach to really open the door to the conversations, it was easy for his referral partners, real estate agents, to actually even invite him to the closing table to talk with their clients about mortgage protection as they were closing on that house. And so not only was it an avalanche of leads, but they were high quality leads as well. So some common mistakes that we see agents make with this in getting their first 100 leads is, first off, trying to be perfect in their content, and then also switching their niches or never niching down to begin with, avoiding conversations and just focusing on content without actually getting into comments and direct messages, or feeling like they need a brand first, like what the name of their agency is, what the logo is, getting professional headshots, setting up a website, and also waiting for confidence to come instead of trusting that taking the action and learning is what's going to breed confidence.
And confidence doesn't create action. Action creates confidence. Think about that with anything you've ever done. If I was waiting for confidence to hit a home run in baseball, I'd never step up to the plate. But if I step up and swing, learn and apply, and I get better and better, more and more confident, then I hit the home run, right? It doesn't work the opposite way.
Love it. All right, David, do you want to share a little bit about what they can do to get started with their 100 lead starter sprint?
So for those who are the action takers, who've been taking notes, who are ready to go apply what we've talked about today and what they've learned, because Otherwise, why else listen if you're not going to go put it in place, right? Action breeds results, not sitting and listening. So here's your 7-day starter sprint. We don't want you walking, we want you sprinting. So pick one audience, guys. Okay. And once you pick that one audience, I want you to start 5 conversations a day, right? That's not a lot of conversations, 5 conversations a day. And I want you to post one simple document moment that we talked about. Okay. And then as you're doing that, I want you to engage inside one community, whether it's a Facebook group, a group of teachers, a pickleball group, whatever that is, one community of your audience that you picked, and then build one referral relationship as well. Okay. I want you guys to do each of that for your 7-day starter sprint, and do this for a week, and you'll feel your pipeline wake up and start moving.
I love it. All right. And inside of our program, the Closers Click, this is where we help you with building this entire system, your niche, your messaging, your content, your conversations, and your referral engine.
And if you want the show notes for today's episode with everything we talked about, discussed, and all the goodies we put together for you, go to jumpstartgonow.com/podcast, as well as to find out some more information about the Closers Click.
Go start those 5 conversations today, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Modern Insurance Agent.